Hi, I'm Dana, and it's time for this week's question. It comes from Mindy, and she writes, "My child has just recently gotten over the flu and an ear infection, and since then he will not sleep through the night. It's been going on for about a month now. He seems like he's waking up every hour. What should I do?" Well, that's a good question, Mindy, and actually as I was reading through some of the comments, I saw quite a few people writing in with that exact same question. I'm going to assume that your child was a good sleeper before the illness, as many of the questions, that's what it was regarding, was that the child was sleeping through the night, got sick for a week or two, and now things have really fallen off the tracks. So the good news is, if you've had a child who was sleeping the night and sleeping well and had their own skills for sleeping, then getting him back on the right track isn't going to be as hard as you think, because that knowledge is already there. One of the things that people do when a child is sick is they'll often bring their baby to bed with them. And, I understand the concerns, especially in this cold and flu season we're having right now. There's some anxiety around the illness and how your child's going to cope through the night. And so my advice is always, it's much better if you move to your child's room rather than moving your child to yours. I mean, a night or two in your child's room is going to be a bit disruptive to your sleep, but when the illness has subsided, then you can go back to your bed and nothing much has changed. If you start bringing a baby into bed with you, it only takes a couple of nights, and the baby might decide, wow, this is pretty awesome. I actually like sleeping in this bed, and so now I'm going to start demanding that this happen every night. And so even when the illness is over and the child is feeling well again, there still might be that demand to come to bed with you. And so what should have just been a few nights is now, a month or more of a child either starting off the night in your bed or coming to your bed halfway through. Okay, so move to your child rather than move your child to you. And also, too, as best you can, you really need to hang on to your consistency, even around illness. And I hear the same thing about teething. With teething, really all you can do is provide a little bit of pain medication of some sort, baby Advil, or discuss with your doctor some options for monitoring the pain. But if you start changing the way you respond to your child with every sickness and with every bout of teething, then potentially you're running the risk of having to do this every month or every other month, because you can quickly undo all the hard work you've put in to establish good sleep habits. A lot of children will resist you sort of messing around with their sleep skills. They might accept some comfort, meaning you could go in, have a cuddle, wipe noses, give a drink of water, whatever the case may be, and then put the child back in their crib. And most babies will accept that. They'll be happy with the cuddle, but then they'll be looking for their own bed again to go to sleep. So increasing your comfort level is fine. Definitely don't wait, 5 or 10 minutes and see if it's just going to pass. If you know your child's sick, you can almost guarantee that there's going to be night wakings. I mean, even as adults, if we're ill, there are usually quite a few more night wakings, and sleep's harder. It just is. So anticipate some wake-ups. Know that it's going to be a rougher night than normal. Go in, offer comfort, but do not do anything drastic. Unless your doctor has suggested you feed in the night. If your child's running a high fever, they'll often suggest some fluids in the night. I'd prefer you go to water first rather than an actual feed, just because, again, a couple of nights of night feeding and you could find yourself sort of in this vicious cycle of, a month or two later you're still up for night feedings. But definitely if that's been suggested, then you should do it. But just be cautious that a couple of nights probably not going to make too many, it's not going to ruin everything. But if anything that goes past 3 nights, I find 3 nights can be a trend setter, and then the child's waking up every other night looking for the same thing. So a few things to keep in mind around sicknesses, and know that once the illness is over and the child's well again. If you have backslid a little or things have not progressed the way you want them to, then you can just start over, so to speak, and get your child back on track with falling asleep independently at bedtime and encouraging him to sleep through the night and not coming to your bed or whatever the case may be. So it might take a night or two of sort of retraining, but because that foundation is already there and his sleep skills are already established, it's just a gentle reminder that, okay, you're feeling better now and it's time to go back to this way. And it doesn't usually take more than a couple of nights. So I hope that gives you some guidance, Mindy. Thanks for your question, and sleep well.